What's up? Welcome back. Today we're working on my Git GUI. His name is Spit. Current state is he's pretty good. Hold on. So this is the Git GUI. You know, we have like a little log view. We have like diffs in here. So if you like go commit by commit, you can see like, oh, here's what changed. And we have like move tracking. So somewhere we can probably see some example of, you know, orange shit here is like, hey, we moved this stuff somewhere else. And that gets like correlated with some like blue section. I think maybe even it will even maybe tell me where it goes if I hover here. Yeah, it moves to commit log. That's pretty sick. Forgot about that until just now. And you know, his current state is he's kind of like a glorified Git log, right? So it's kind of hard to do much of them. You can do some stuff, like you can like check out branches, delete branches, cherry pick, merge, but there's not a lot of ways to like interact with it. How do I say this? Like if I want to like look at what I've currently changed and add that and commit it, there's not really like a nice really like command line or like a GUI way to do that. I can do something like, let's do something like git add shell.nix. And as of yesterday, we have this like really shitty view in here where we see in the index, we see these are the files that have been like modified. But if I do something like, you know, git commit, that'll pop up a little window and I can say like ASDF, SDF, SDF, finish, that like gets in here. But it would be nice to be able to like interact a little bit more with this. So like see modified files, remove them, maybe do some like patch-wise add so that you can add like chunk by chunk. Stuff like that. That's kind of what we're like working towards, is like basically I want to replace my command line usage of git add and git commit with the UI. And so yesterday we added this like index guy right here. You can click on it, it shows you change files, but it'd be nice to have him look a little bit more, you know, like this. So that's the goal for today. That's the goal for today. And I think the plan of action is approximately figure out how to like look at what files have changed and diff them with their current versions, which I imagine the code's like pretty much already there for that because we have like a diff viewer and it's doing diff stuff. We should figure out like what to plug in. And then we have to figure out how to like pipe the diff over. And then if we get through all of that, maybe we'll do something like add buttons to add remove files from. No, we can't do that until we maybe do something like show working tree as well. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. And so let's get moving. Okay, so somewhere in this chunk of code, we need to extract which files have changed, which we've already done, and figure out how to diff them with the current index, or the current head, I should say. And so somewhere in here, we must already be doing something similar to that. We have this like log or this like commit view, and this guy shows the diffs already. So where do they come from is the question. So LSP info, are we running? Hello, I would like to jump to this function, but I guess maybe the LSP is still booting up, so we have to navigate by hand. Okay, so there's this like diff view, and he has some update function who gets called from somewhere. I see. So the way this app is like architected is there's kind of like two sides of it. There's like the GUI side and the app side, and they're like almost completely independent. And the reason for that is I want them to run on two separate threads so that like, you know, actions of Git can't affect GUI responsiveness, and also like the app has to respond to things that didn't happen from the GUI. So having like some thread that's like monitoring the repo, being like, oh, did something change? Oh, let me like tell you what happened. That's like the way it's like set up. So somewhere there, like an event gets fired from the app side, and he's like, oh, I fetched diff, and we show that in the UI, I guess. And so somewhere someone must be emitting this event in response to some action. So here he is saying, the app requests a get diff from the GUI side. I see. So if somebody is like, hey, I have requested a diff that comes from, where does that come from? So here we are in the commit view. I see. So it looks like what happens is when I click this commit, he says to the UI, like this widget says to the UI, hey, this is the selected commit. Then this widget, which is like the diff view, he goes like, let me try to show that commit. And if he can't show him, he says, fuck, I don't have like the information I need to display this. I don't have the diff. And so maybe it's easier for you to like, draw this out. So we have like log, and then we have view, I guess is like we'll call the bottom pane. And then we have like GUI holds both of these guys, and then like we have like the app who's doing the actual work. App. And so it looks like what happens is the log view says to the GUI, hey, I have commit ID, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he sends to the view, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what you have to show. The view goes like, fuck, I don't have that commit. So he's like, can you please get the diff for 1, 2, 3, 4? Then the GUI sends over to the app, get diff. App says, hey, diff retrieved, done. And then the GUI sends that over to this view. It looks like. What the fuck? I've never dragged that out. How do I put it back? I don't want this. Escape? How do I put it back in? No! Is this gonna be like this forever? Fuck. Anyways, so it looks like that's how it works. And so the question is, how do we like extend this for when we click on the index? Let's think about this. So I guess we have this like diff request who has a from object ID and a to object ID. So these are probably going to be like trees of data. Who uses these guys? Okay, so he says self-processor. What is this? Diff processor with data. Okay. So I guess probably he's like caching something, probably. Data, modified files. So he's got... Aha, yeah. So he knows... He's like caching a list of modified files. And he's got like a diff processor. And I can like update options on this processor and then recompute diffs, I guess. Okay. I don't know why it's set up like that. I don't remember, but that's okay. So he says, hey, if we have changed which set of files we're looking at. Wait, if this is not equal to that and this is not equal to that, yeah. Then we get the list of modified files for these two object IDs. I see. So like I have commit A and commit B, and there's going to be some list of files that is like changed between them. Then we create a new processor. Oh, I see. So, yeah, let's look at this. So if I click on like this commit, I have like these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files that changed, right? And I can like, when I use this, look at these guys, I can say like, hey, I would like to, let's see if there's like an example somewhere. Maybe, yeah, this guy should have it. Yeah. So here, if I look at like this like blue section down here, hold on, let's find a chunk of blue or orange or something. No? Is that... I thought I saw it. Am I high? Yeah, I thought it was in here. Oh, I see. White space off. There we go. That'll make it easier. Okay, so say I have like this chunk of moved stuff, and I say, you know what? I don't want to look at move tracking right now. I click this checkbox, and it looks like what's happening is this does not actually interact with Git in any way, because our diff processor goes like, oh, I'm already looking at these two sets of files. I already know what they are. And so when you ask me for a new diff, I'll just like say, okay, let me rerun my like extra processing on these sets of files. And I will give you back the answer. And that should speed stuff up, I guess. That's probably why I did it that way. So this stuff is handling like, hey, I need to update the processor. And then here is where he actually like does the diffing. Okay. So probably this like diff processor, he can probably be reused for the index diff. That makes sense to me because he's just got a list of files. He's storing object IDs for that list of files, so we might have to update this a little bit. But other than that, it seems like it's actually probably fine. Okay. So probably the only thing that we really need to change is this like modified files thing might need to take in something that isn't object IDs. Maybe he takes in reference IDs. And maybe we add a reference for index or something. I wonder... If I remember correctly, is the index actually... Does the index have an object ID? It might. What's in this guy? Cat index. Clear. Reset. Fuck. Fuck. Reset. How do I, like, if I remember correctly, when you add stuff to the index, he actually, like, creates a get object for that thing. How can we test this? We can look at, we can go into a test directory. Maybe we'll make a new one, because I don't remember what's in there. And we say get init. And we can, in this test directory, we can look at the git directory. And we can watch our tree. Here, we don't have tree. So let's get tree so we can monitor what happens. I just want to see, if I remember correctly, like adding stuff to the index creates objects in like git land. So I can say like tree dot, okay. And maybe watch tree objects. Okay. And if I like say like touch test, and I say get add test, that does make an object here. But it doesn't look like it makes like a tree object. So if I say get cat file dash -p-e6, oopsie, e6, and then this shit, that's not helpful. mvim test. And if I say like acdf, get add test, then I have a new object here, get cat file dash -p98 this. Okay, so that's like, it's creating object files for, it's creating like get objects for the file itself, but not for like the tree, which is what we want. So I don't think that we can just reuse the object ID stuff. Probably we need to ask for the index specifically. I would also be interested to know, like, what is like the index file format? What is it like get index file? Index format documentation, here we go. Do you have any idea about cybersecurity? I haven't really worked in that much, so I don't really have much to say there, unfortunately. Okay, so what does this guy have? Index entries are sorted in ascending order with the name field, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is what I want, but it's too many words, so. It's the signature of Durcache, 4-byte version number, 32-bit number of index entries, extensions. Okay, sure. So each index entry has like modified. Okay, cool. Okay, I see. So it's like similar to a tree, but maybe not necessarily the same thing. Okay. So we're using libgit2. And if I remember correctly, yesterday we were looking at 2 functions on this guy. We looked at in a repository, there was index, which gave us every single file in the index. And then there was also status, which gave us something like akin to git status. So this guy had like status entries that had states on them, whether or not they're like index modified, etc. So is there like any clean way to like reuse that shit? Modified files. He asks for git trees for given files, and then he walks the tree and checks if what? Ah, I see. So like the tree is something like tree A has like A, B, C. Like the path at ABC is given like ID1, and the path at ABD is given like ID2, and then they have like tree B, and he has the same sets of files, but maybe we changed one. So this is going to have like ID1, but this one's going to have like ID3 because it changed. And so we like look at the IDs and names for each file, and then we check like, hey, did like the content of the thing at that path change? And if so, then we probably like load those files into memory. Yeah. So we could call paths to contents on the T1 files and T2 files, where T1 files and T2 files are probably only the differences. Changed paths. Change paths. Yeah. Okay. So he looks at the stuff in T1 that changed and the stuff in tree 2 that changed, and then he creates a set of modified files. So a lot of this code is probably going to be the same, right? We're going to probably want to diff the two trees still. The only thing that probably changes is where we get one of the trees from. One of the trees is going to be from the index. And so probably it makes sense to, how do I say this? Yesterday we were looking at the status function because we were getting like all files in the tree from the index method. But I guess that's actually like kind of closer to what we want if we want to reuse this code. So maybe let's go back to looking at index. And is there a way to like extract a tree from this guy? Read a tree into the index file. Can I see like what the current tree is? Write the index as a tree, write the index object, blah, blah, blah. How do I see like what it is? I can get like entries in the index. Get one entry. Add path, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's probably, what, index entries? Can I like build a tree from looking at index entries? I can look at paths. Do I have OIDs? Oh, I do. Okay. So I can build a tree of path to OIDs like I did for when I was comparing two commits, except I just have to build it slightly differently. Okay. So let's say, how do we want to do this? I guess we want to split out a function for like the second half of this guy. So maybe even for the first half as well. Okay, let's do this. I think I have it in my head. Do we have like any helper functions in this file already? We put them at the bottom. I always have like different conventions depending on what I worked on most recently. So sometimes I put the function at the bottom, sometimes I put them at the top. I don't know, but it's nice to say at least like somewhat consistent within a file. So let's say what are like the like chunks of work here? One of them is like object ID to file list is kind of what we're doing here. And he's taking in an ID, and he's returning a like a list of paths and a list like a list of paths to other object IDs. Walk insert file name. Right, so this guy, he's using a hash map here. So it's a hash map of vec u8, the path name, or the path, to, I guess it's get to OIDs. Maybe we'll use our own internal object ID here. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what makes sense. I guess probably it makes sense to do what we were doing before. So I think we're using this guy. What does he do? He inserts file type commit entry ID, file type object. What the fuck is this? Oh, I wonder if this is for like submodules. What the fuck? An object which corresponds to a git commit? That must be for submodules. It must be. Because I can't see why else we'd be doing that. Okay, so this is going to these like file types actually. So let's pull this guy out and we'll stick him here. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, and so this is gonna be a hash map of path to file type. Okay, and file type is actually calling this a type is kind of fucked because the object IDs aren't part of a type. So maybe we'll put a fix me on here. Not types. Okay. And so this guy is going to do a bunch of what we did on the left side. So this is going to say ret instead of t1 files, or I guess we'll call it t1 files for now and then rename it at the end. This walk stuff is going to be the same, probably. Maybe. We're going to have to convert the IDs. So we're going to pull this guy over here. This is going to be called ID1 just for naming consistency. Then we're going to get the tree one, and we'll fix all the names at the end. So here we need to take in the get2 repo as well, which is going to be a get2 repository. Yep. So then we can call this get2 repo instead of self get2 repo. This guy gets a tree. This guy can return a result. Results, like, oops, oh god, here we go, like this. Here we're going to say unimplemented for now so that we have like an indexer that works correctly. Okay, so we're going to walk the files, blah blah blah. And that's it. I think that gives me the file list. So here hopefully we should be able to say let t1 files is equal to object ID to file list, and we pass in self get2 repo and the ID1. And we say t2 files is the same, but with ID2. And hopefully that lets us kind of like nuke a bunch of code on this side. I guess here we need to return the return. And here we probably have to add some context here. Context failed to get files for tree or for ID1. And this is failed to get files for ID2. Cargo check. Looks like everyone's chilling. Let's do some like renames on the right side here. So ID1 is going to be turning into just ID. This is going to be called tree instead of t1. This is going to be called ret instead of t1 files. And then probably everything else is fine. Cargo check. Cargo run. And let's just see if the diff still looks reasonable. Yep, still fine. We're still getting lists of changed files. Looking good. Okay, so second half of this is going to be what? Pulling out the part of that compares the two trees. Okay, so we're gonna say function. What does like the output of this guy? A set of modified files. So we're gonna say modified files between trees, I guess. And he's going to take in probably the get2 repo as well, like the previous thing. Repository, and he's going to take in hash something that's like tree1. I guess we called it t1 files. It's going to be a hash map vec u8 file type like this, and then t2 files is going to be the same, and this is going to return a result of modified files probably. And this is just going to be the second half of this function. Okay, so it's going to be like all of this. Okay, so anywhere where we used self get repo, we have to yoink that out. Okay. He doesn't like that I typoed all over the place here, so type is file type capital, probably vec has a lowercase e, and file type's capitalized again. And here we need the object IDs. I see. So here we actually need to pass in ID1 is an object ID, and ID2 is an object ID. Okay. And then we don't have to clone them, we can just use them as is. Bum, bum, bum. And here we don't have to put its references anymore. Okay. And so now wherever we were doing this shit before, which would have been up somewhere, up. I've lost it. I have lost it. It's modified files. Modified. Here we go. Oh, raid of 6 viewers. Exandri. Thanks for the raid. I apologize for butchering the name. Okay, so here all of this code can just be replaced with this modified files between trees, and we pass in the get to repository ID1, ID2, tree1 files, and t2 files. Yeah. And then we just nuke all this. Yep. And I think that all still works. Cargo check. Cargo run. And we can see if the diff view is still there, then we're chilling. And we're like in a good spot to move on to like the index stuff, I think. Yeah, so I think this is fine. Looks like it's working as expected. Yeah, we're chilling. Okay. So now the next thing to do is add a function to get like a list of modified files between the index and the current head. So it's going to be modified files with index, I think. And we're going to have ID is like who we're comparing to. And he's going to return a result of modified files. Okay. Seems reasonable. And then we're going to have the like committed files, or yeah, committed files or object files, I guess is reasonable. And then we have to say unimplemented here so that we don't like, so we continue to compile. And we just need to make a function now to like extract the same set of stuff, but from the index. So here we'll call this like index to file list. Or maybe not even index 2. We'll just say the index file list. Cool. So that's going to be like get to repo index. Yep. And failed to get index. Unimplemented to allow compilation so that we don't fuck up like ownership stuff and have to deal with it at the end. And here, I think we saw there was like a function to like iterate the index entries. So we're going to say for entry in index iter. What is this guy? This is an index entry. So we have like entry dot ID. Yep. And then we have the path, which is entry path. And it looks like we have to do something about like entry kind. So what is this? Does this come, do the index things have kinds as well? He just has OIDs. So how does this entry kind come from? Tree entry, okay. So this is a object type. So we might have to actually load or like look at the object in the repo probably to get the same interface. So probably like if somebody adds like a git submodule add, I wonder what like comes out here. So maybe for now we'll say fix me check object type, i.e. tree commit submodule, etc. Like in object ID2 file list. But for now, we'll just assume that everything is an object, and so we can just say we have some return that we return at the end. And here, I guess we just do ret insert, and we map the path to the ID. But this is a file type object ID. Simple. Quite simple, actually. If it works, which we have not proven in any way, shape, or form yet. Okay. So wherever we were looking at modified files, which was up here somewhere, up, here we go. So we can say let index files is equal to index file list given the git repo. We can say context failed to get files for index. And then I think all we have to do is do the same thing we were doing here. But now we use index files and object files. And what gets tricky here is that it expects some sort of ID. So I wonder if we can just use a placeholder for now. Can I just do like OID or object ID? Like, what is this thing? This is just an ID of zeros. Yeah, so we're going to put a fix me here, and we're going to say set object ID. Or like allow non-object ID field here, so we can like say that it's related to the index. But for now, I'm just going to put in 0, 20, and 2. Yep. Okay. And then somebody has to call this, I guess. So here we can have this like get diff. And maybe the object ID is going to use, instead of an object ID, he's going to say something else. Sorry, object ID. So this comes from source, get object ID. Okay. What else is in here? References, commit metadata, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, like, if index is, like, a reasonable reference ID here. Like, I don't know. I don't really feel like that's correct. Because I think that, like, right now we have everything else in here is, like, something that you can, like, do lookups on. Who uses these guys? Let's look at that. If I remember correctly, there's somewhere where we, like, resolve references. Yeah. So yeah, a reference is, he converts from a reference to a reference. What the fuck does this do? Who calls this? Head is equal to reference head resolved. Like, what the fuck? Okay. What do we do with reference IDs? Underline them? That's not very interesting. References are assumed. Okay, yeah, here we go. So references are assumed to have an object ID associated with them, which is not true for indexes. So calling a reference, like adding an index as a reference ID doesn't make sense, I don't think. So we need to call this something else. Maybe we do like pub enum diff target or something, and we can say index or object ID, object ID. Which is kind of gross, but good enough, I guess. I don't know. So whoever requests diffs now should be giving us diff targets. Who comes from... I don't know if this is where this should live. Who, like, what is Git? Like, what is Git? What a stupid question. What is the module Git in this project? Like, what is he supposed to do? So he has all of the stuff, I guess, for interacting with Git. And so the top level module here is just like types. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So this can live here. And then in app, we can use Git diff target. Great. Seems reasonable to me. And surely everybody who's using this guy before is going to get angry. So diff target doesn't implement display. Okay. Who was using this before? Ignoring diff request for this to that, because it's the repo is no longer the same repo. Okay. So I guess that makes it's... Uh-oh. Why is my thing so slow? Stream looks like it's still running, but my editor is frozen. Here we go. Okay. So looks like we should implement display here, which is reasonable. Impl display for diff target. There. Oh my god, it's so slow. What the fuck is going on? Okay. Owie, 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 it hurts. Okay. So here, we're gonna match self, and I guess we're gonna say, if we are index, we return, we do like a write of f index. Oh my god, what is happening? It's probably this fucking window at the bottom is probably slowing us down. And if we have diff target object ID, we write f ID. Okay. Simple. Maybe. All right. Who's complaining next? Okay, so here we get the list of modified files, and now here I guess we depend on what the, like, we switch behavior based off of the targets. So we can say match from to. Okay. And we have, you know, diff target object A and diff target object B. This just does what we were doing before. So repo Womp, womp. Oopsies. Stick it here. Womp, 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 womp. Womp, womp, womp. There we go. And here we say A and B. Yep. Now we have some other options now. And so one is going to be index and object, in which case we call our new function. And for everything else, we'll just say unimplemented for now. For now. Okay, so this is now going to be modified files with index, and we only pass in B. Yep. And I guess we have to say let modified files equals. Simple. Okay. Expected modified files found this because I put semicolons here when I shouldn't have. The processor should now store diff targets instead of object IDs. What the fuck is going on here? Here we go. Diff target. What doesn't it like now? Stood option diff target. Cargo check. What is it complaining about? Option diff target. Oh, because diff target doesn't have equal implemented. Okay. So we can add that. It's just EQ and partial EQ. Great. All right. And we can just keep going. What's next? Expected object ID found diff target. So these guys being diff targets also seems reasonable. What is like a diff fetched with some metadata? Yeah, so we say, hey, this is the metadata we got from diff target, which means that diff targets also need to implement hash, I guess. Because I guess we use this like metadata as a key for something for some reason. Okay. Fucking weird, but okay. I don't know why we would do that, but that's fine. Okay. So now these guys... Oh, we can fix that, fix me. Okay. So here, these guys are diff targets now instead of object IDs. Great. And so now when we call this guy, we have diff target object ID1 and diff target object ID2. And then in this scenario down here, we have diff target index and diff target object. All right. Is everyone happy? No diff target thing probably, so I have to use git diff target. Okay. And here we don't have to that fix me anymore. Who else is complaining? Who else is complaining? Request diff. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to put object IDs here. Diff target object. But eventually, we will have to figure out how to request the index here. But that's fine for now. So here we have to probably use git diff target. All right. How many other people are complaining? Actually, not that many. Okay, so in app mod, we have from and to, and these guys have like this like fucking some ampersands on here. And then here we can remove these ampersands. And we're chilling. Okay. So moment of truth, do we still compile? And do we still run? And do we still get diffs? So far, nothing should have changed. So far, nothing should be changed. So here we have diffs. The diffs are working. Everyone's happy. All right. Now we need to pipe in the like index support on the GUI side. The GUI has to request a diff for the index. So I guess we have this like commit view action. Where does he come from? Commit view action. This is what we were talking about earlier. So he tries to show the current selected commit, which is a selected item. And previously we were doing something stupid here, where we were yeah. So we construct a diff request, blah, blah, blah. Here he's got like a message that he shows, right? He shows the commit message in there. I guess that wouldn't be true in the index view. But all of this like diff handling stuff is going to be very similar. Construct diff request for the selected commit. And so he says, hey, I would like to go from the parent to the selected commit. And so I guess this diff request should also use diff targets. Which means that this should say diff target object like this. And this would also say diff target object. All right, which means that on the other side, when we consume him, we don't have to wrap these guys in objects anymore. We can just say, hey, this is from and this is to. Wonderful. Cargo check. Do we miss anything? No. Surprising. Okay. So I guess maybe we just construct a different diff request. Construct index diff request. Maybe. Or do we switch behavior within this guy? So he could maybe take in a diff or a selected item. Which means that this selected commit doesn't have to go through this shit anymore. Here, he can return in both cases. So let's kind of see how that gets fucked up. So he's kind of like anything other than none, he returns himself, I guess. Then gen commit header takes in an object ID and he looks at the cache commits. Okay. And we'll call this maybe for object. And then we'll maybe have like a function gen commit header. And he will take in cached commits. Yeah, okay, sure. Object ID commit, boom, boom, boom. He's gonna return some sort of string. And so now he can just like flip behavior based off of what type of item it is. So it's like selected item here. And I guess having him be a reference is fine. And so he'll just say match selected item. And if it's selected item index, he's going to say index. Maybe he'll say staged files. And for selected item object, he's going to do gen commit header for object with the commit cached. Cached commits. And selected item none, he's going to say panic no selected item, which should not happen here. Okay, okay. And then he shoves that shit in there with the diff view, and weirdly, it's almost ready. So now in here, when we construct our diff request, we just have to switch behaviors based off of the selected commit. Okay, so we're going to rename this to selected item. And the options are the options. Search query is a search query. So the only thing we have to do is like handle this like from to shit. And so we can probably do something like that from. Ooh. Oh, wait a second. we're missing a crucial piece of information, which is the object ID of the current head. Okay. But we can just like store that somewhere. But for now we'll say match let from to is equal to match selected item. Okay. Yep. And then here, if we have a selected item object, we do whatever we were doing before, right? This stuff. And then from and to get assigned like this. Right, like this, boom, boom. Okay. And then we'll just do unimplemented for now. And we just return from and to. And put a semicolon. Is he happy now? This has to be ID. ID clone even, maybe. All right, sure, fuck it. Blaze it. All right, I think we're chilling. Target check. Is anything else broken? No. Okay, so all we have to do now is construct this diff request relative to the object ID of the current head, which must come from like the repo state in some way. Repo state, which we have here. Sick. So the repo state has a head, it's a reference ID. Fuck. It would be nice. No, he should have this in here, I think. We should be able to... I think we have the information that we need in here. Maybe. Okay. Let's say that on the repo state, we have this function that is like head object ID. And maybe he'll return option object ID, but I think that this should always be valid. So maybe we'll do it this way. And we can say for reference in self references, if reference ID is equal to something, is equal to self-head, we return reference.object something. Reference head. Yup. Seems reasonable, and here we panic. Did not find reference our object ID for head. Okay. I think that's fair, but we'll see. And so now, hopefully we have the information we need in the GUI, in the commit view, to construct the diff request with this repo state. And here, we should be able to say, if we have selected item index, we should be able to say let from is equal to diff target object repo state head object ID. Yep, yeah, that looks reasonable. Let to is equal to diff target index. Yes, and we turn from to. Hell yeah. Private method, fuck you. Great. And maybe I'll press shift so that this 9 and 0 turns into parentheses instead of 9s and 0s. And moment of truth. It would be super sick if that worked. Super fucking sick. Okay. So if I click on here, I get diffs for these things. I click on the index. Stage files. Okay, this doesn't look... Oh, maybe this... Is this right? No. There's no way that I have no stage files right now. Right? Yeah, no stage files. Okay, so we're getting like some form of diff, but it's definitely not what I want. Okay, so, but it does say stage files here, and we do have something. Some diff is being shown. Okay. So I guess we are so close then. We must be close. So maybe here we repo state head object ID. Let's run over to the app stuff. And let's maybe print out. How do I want to do this? Rust GDB target deep. Rust GDB target debug. So I want to look at like something clearly. I just don't know what I want to look at yet. Probably it makes sense to look at like the diff request. Get diff. Here we go. So maybe we'll pause like in here. Spit, and we'll breakpoint on this, and then we'll run it, and then we will, oopsies, we need to run it with an argument. So we'll say run with this file, and we'll hit this, okay, and we can say print from, print to. So we are, in fact, going from something to something, and we can look at this object ID. Can we, like, print this as hex? So is that a reasonable object ID? A39424, A39424. So it looks like it's generating the correct object ID. So that's reasonable so far. Hold on. Oh. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Cargo run again. So if I click on the index, there's actually no diff being shown here because we failed to request commit. Oh, hold on. Oh, there's a panic in there, and we just weren't seeing it because it fucking crashed. Okay, mod 309. Okay. Oh. Oops. I had it backwards. Just explains a lot. Oh, okay, so we have no stage files. And then let's do a git add-u. Okay. That's really close. It was not automatically updating though, which is a problem. Okay, so our repo state, I think, is the one who flags. I see, so we need to reissue a diff request if we notice that the list of files changed. Not only if the list of files changed, but if they're like, if their object IDs changed, right? Everything in the index has an object ID. And if the index is changed at all, we need to re-request the diff. Yes. Okay. So our repo state. Okay. Hold on. Wait a minute. So I think yesterday when we were looking at this, we did in fact notice the index change. And if we notice the index change, we said here are the modified files in the index. But I guess what we should do, maybe what makes more sense is to just list all of the files in the index in our repo state. This is modified files, and we go path buff here. But maybe we should make it like modified files, which is like a hash map of path buff to object ID. Maybe? That doesn't seem crazy unreasonable to me. And then we will notice if that thing changes, and we can like come back for it, you know? You can go like, hey, I would like a new diff, please. In that case. Okay, so here, this index, he can say, if these things change, get the path, but also get the entry dot ID. Insert, I guess, goes here. And this is a hash map. No ID on status entries. Okay, what the fuck does this guy have? What does he have? Status iter. Statuses. Status entry. Here we go. And so we have some impl of status entry probably somewhere. No. I guess we will look up the real docs instead of trying to like grep through some code. So he has status, path, differences between the file in head and the index. Index to work dir. Head to index. Oh. Return file which... Oh, this is fucked. This is not what I want. This is like computing the diffs using git stuff, and I want to compute the diffs like myself. So I guess here, maybe we don't run over statuses. We say index. And I guess we will just iterate over every single thing in the index. And we will just say, instead of modified files, well, let's see. Does the index tell me if the things are modified? Index entry. No. We could... Okay, so we could get a little crazy with it, and we could, like, look at the current head and see if we could, like, do this, like, modified files thing. Modified files with index. We could do that. And what does this give me? He gives me a list of modified files. But he, like, loads them all? But the index file list gives me a bunch of paths and their file types. So we could just do this. Modified files between trees. So it's almost like we want, like, do we want, like, another stage that gives me, like, the modified paths? And then we can store the modified paths? I don't really see any reason to do that, to be honest. Let's just fucking store everything. Fuck it. We'll just store every file in the index here. And so the index here will say files is going to be just everything. And so here we're going to say files, files, files. And we're going to look at every fucking entry, and we're just going to say let path s is equal to entry path string from UTF-8 entry path and entry ID into. Okay. Consider using option expect. So who's complaining here? Who's complaining? Someone's unhappy. Oh. Okay, so he's chilling. And so now on the GUI side, in the commit view, we actually want to construct a diff request anytime the index, the like previous index does not match the current index. So who should notice that? Who should notice that? Probably the commit view, I guess. I don't know. He's the one who's like issuing the requests generally. He's the one who's saying like, hey, I want this diff. And so he has to do something like, he has a diff request, blah, 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 from to, blah, blah, blah. Update diff. Okay, so probably he has to do something like cache the repo state. I think that's probably reasonable. So he can say, hey, here's the repo state. And then we can we can add a function on this guy. Hey, here is my repo state. Yup. So he can use std sync arc. And so now instead of passing in the repo state here, we just have a reference to it. Great. And here we will just say needs index up, or index has changed is going to be bool, which is going to start as false. I don't know. Do I need to like fucking set this guy? I guess the default is probably false already. I actually don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. We'll see. So here we're going to say if self repo state dot index is not equal to repo state dot index, self index has changed is equal to true, and then down here, if request is not equal to last request diff, or request self index has changed, Jesus, and something else, and what? The request dot from is equal to diff target index, except it's the to side, not the from side. We do this. We say, hey, please re-request it, and we'll remember that we've done that now. One of the expressions field blah 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 request to. Is that not how it works? What is this like diff request? And request map x2 is equal to sum. Here we go. There we go. Bing bang boom. Bish bash bosh. That's I think the counter-terrorists say that in Counter-Strike. Bingo, bango, bongo, bish, bash, bosh. Where does that come from? Is this from Counter-Strike? I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
Bingo, bango, bongo, bish, bash, bosh.
Another one of those things that's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of my life. I don't know. I don't even like that. I wonder if that's like from Counter-Strike or if that's like a Counter-Strike reference to something else. CS:GO, CS:GO. Bish, bash. Yeah, I guess this is just like actually a thing from Counter-Strike itself. Crazy. Bingo, bango, bongo, bish, bash, bosh. Okay, so somebody has to update the repo state. Someone has to update the repo state. So whoever's calling this guy. What about building on top of git oxide, not lib git? Is this like a Rust implementation of git, probably? Rust. That's really funny. That just the first thing in this README is just a hyperlink to Rust. That's really funny. Okay. Yeah, so I guess, I guess how do I say this? I would need a compelling argument to switch. What is like the point of this? Like this is probably just one of those like rewrite in Rusts for fun things. And so I don't know, I'm pretty happy to just use libgit2 idiomatic APIs. Yeah, I mean, I don't really give a shit like about Rust. Well, how do I say this? I like using Rust. I don't really care if my dependencies use Rust, I guess. I'm like very happy to use libgit2, given that it's like used everywhere. Now, the reason I'm not happy to use libgit2 is because it's fucking slow, right? Like, so I'm actually re-implementing some Git features so it's trying to be a really good Git solution, not just a fun rewrite. Yeah, okay, I could see that. I mean, I guess I would have to find a reason that I'm unhappy with Git2 to switch, or a compelling reason that Git oxide is like, if it's like significantly faster, then I would have to look into it, because I do care about speed. But I mean, I haven't really like, other than like the slowdown, I haven't really found anything about libgit2 that I'm just like upset about. And like, I guess everyone uses it, and I think every Git GUI sucks. So there's like maybe something about that as well. But yeah, I'm not really that opposed, not really that into either. I'd have to look. It's one of those things where, generally, I try to do this. I don't really always succeed, but I try to write my code in a way where if I swapped out a low level dependency, it doesn't fucking matter, right? So like that's why I have like this repo abstraction. I have like my version of a repository, and hopefully my like use of libgit2 doesn't leak out of this abstraction. And then when I eventually decide to flip the switch later, if I decide, hey, Git oxide's pretty cool, I'm going to try that, then it should be like as simple as just like flipping this switch and re-implementing whatever usage I have in here. But I would need, you know, what's the... Writing code the first time, you can kind of make whatever decision you want. But then like you're kind of stuck with that decision forever because you need to like justify changes. And I know that like I'm the only person working on my projects, but I do like stand by that like change needs to have a good reason, you know? Sorry, I'd have to look into it. Someone somewhere is calling update with repo state everywhere. Repo state updated. Here we call self commit view update with repo state art clone repo state. All right. So I wonder if that does it. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew about Git oxide and how far into this you are. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about Git oxide, so it's cool to bring it up. I'm not saying don't. I'm not being like fuck you. Just like I appreciate the new piece of knowledge. Request map. Okay, what the fuck is going on here? Why doesn't he like this? Cargo check. Request move, do this method call. Oh, I see. So I have to like as ref map. Cargo check. Move occurs because 2 doesn't have to copy. Hello? Am I fucking high? I guess I'll just type clone here. Is he happy now? Close. Move occurs because of this, like, here we go. So this guy still needs to be as ref like this. Cargo check. Are we chilling? Okay. So now the moment of truth. Moment of truth. We can see if when we look at the index now, he should have his like current index state. So we can like look at, let's close this, resize, and we say git status. Okay, and we can say maybe like git diff staged. And so we can see like maybe if this correlates, which I think it does. This looks like what's currently in here. And maybe I want to see if, do I have more changes here? I do. Very good. And so I should be able to say, if I did everything right, when I type git add -u, I should see this hash map added to the current diff that I'm looking at. Git add -u. Fuck. So why not? If I re-click on this, does it? No. Why not? Why not? So if I close this and open it again, it will probably show that like hash set being there. Is ego again? Yeah, sure is. Sure is. Okay, so that does it. So, oh, interesting. So first of all, the diff is backwards. So we need to fix that. Is it? I think it's backwards. We removed hash map and added hash set. Yeah, that's backwards. So we have to fix that. And also, I don't understand why it's not refreshing. So maybe we should say, let's kind of like just trace this chain. So here we'll say print line index has changed. And here we'll say requesting index diff. Okay. And so now we can run. Okay, and when I click on this, we should be able to say git add -u, and I should go in here. Oh, fuck this. Okay, we are seeing re-requesting index diff. That's really good. But probably if we go in here now, we won't see those logs in the commit view because it's broken. Yeah, we don't see that print line. So the question is, why? Maybe because of the diff caching on the other side? Okay, first of all, let's get this fucking print line out here. It's fucking annoying. So I guess we had some caching of... Oh, that's right. We did. Okay. We have some caching. Fucking caches, man. They break everything. Where does this come from? Get diff, self-processor. Yes. Okay. So I guess also... Okay, we'll just say... I guess we will... How do we do this? How do we say this? So we're like saying only update the file list if we've like asked for a different set of like a different from to. But I guess in the case of where the from or the to is the index, we have to refetch because we just don't know. We don't know if it's changed, which sucks. Unless we write down like the last set of object files, like we have a list of object IDs in the repo state for the index, but I don't really want to go through that work. So I'm just going to say or from equals diff target index or to equals diff target index. That's probably the easiest way to deal with this. Cargo check. Cargo run. Cargo run on this repo. Okay. So we can click on the index. And we can look at, I guess, the app is what we just changed. It was down here. We added some stuff here. So if I say git add -u and I alt tab back, still no, eh? But we do say re-requesting index diff. Can we print line here and say retrieving files? Like, is that not happening? And if so, why the fuck not? Git add you. Oh, fuck. Retrieving files. Git status. Can I like git restore staged mod? There we go. Oh, so that's not triggering a refresh for some reason. Interesting. Okay. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? So that's interesting. Why? Repo state updated. Print line, repo state. Can we look at the index here? Repo state index like this or something? This guy doesn't implement debug. That's fine. I can just slap him on there. It's fine. Okay, cargo run. We run on this repository. And if I say git add -u, what did I just add? I added mod. Mod. Okay. And if I git restore staged source GUI mod, then here we should see that the mod file changed. So this is object ID 99138, and here it was 1397. So it looks like we're chilling. Like, the repo state is correctly noticing that this thing changed. So if I add it back again, we should see it change again. Oopsies. Git add -u. Here we see source GUI mod 99138. Okay, we're chilling. So then the question is why is that not resulting in a diff re-request? Git restore staged source GUI mod. Source GUI mod is gone. Git add -u. Source GUI mod is still gone. So why the fuck? Okay. Let's look at commit view. So update with repo state. Is this getting called? Print line. Updating repo state. Or run. Like maybe there's a bug here. Updating repo state, index has changed. Okay. Git add -u. Updating repo state, but it's not saying that the index has changed. Why? If self repo state index is not equal to repo state index, index has changed. So in what world, why is this not happening? Why? Like, am I high? Because we checked, we saw that it changed. We derive equal and partial EQ. We run the index. The index will have different object IDs. Let's just fucking rip it. We'll say old repo self repo state and new is the new repo state. And we'll put the index in both these, I guess. Cargo run. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Git add -u. Okay. So here we said updating repo state, old. So we just changed, what did we add there? We added the commit view. So the commit view object ID is 177.228. Now we have somewhere in here, we should see commit view again. Commit view. And 177, oh, interesting. 177.228, okay. Commit view 177.228. 177.228. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay. Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. So we have commit view 177. Oh, 174, 176. Hold on. Okay. 174, 176. Git restore staged the commit view. Commit view. commit view. 174, 176. Okay. Why is that not changing? Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Let's try one more time. Git add dash u. So here, we should see commit view 174, 176, 18. Git restore staged. Commit view 174, 176, 18. So it's just not changing. Why the fuck is it not changing? Do I not know what an index is? Git list index. Git show index. What does it do? Show index. Reads the index. Oh, that's not what I want. Git list staged files, file object IDs. Fuck, that's not what I want, man. I want git show staged object IDs. Git ls files, here we go. Yeah. Git ls files stage. And then we can look at commit view. So this is 01, 03. Okay, we need to fucking print these things as hex. Like this. I think. And this will give us some form of clue, I guess. Why, I don't know who's fucking up. Someone's fucking up and it's pissing me off. Pissing me off. Okay. Commit view. So he has 1350. 1350. Okay, great. Now, git restore staged. We fucking remove that guy and we list the stage files again. Commit view is now 135. Whoa. 135. 10350. What? Whoa, what the fuck is going on? Git add dash u ls files staged. Commit view F568D. Okay. Commit view. And he's not updated. Okay. But here he is. F568D9. So I wonder who's fucking that up. It's got to be libgit2. It's got to be libgit2. We've got to be fucking... We're pulling out an OID here from the index. And is he just not fucking... Oh, man, I'm going to be fucking mad. Index. Is he doing something fucking stupid? Like caching it? Index, be sure local variable to keep it alive as long as it's in the index. Get the index file for the repository. If the custom index has not been set, the default index for the repository will be the one located in git index. Okay. If the repository of this index is dropped, then this index will become detached. Okay, yeah, sure. But like, oh my god, libgit2. Source. Okay, let's fucking. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it if there's some cache going on here. Because I don't feel like we've done anything wrong. It's just like we load the index and it's not updated. Unless app mod. So here we can say get repo state. He retrieves the repo index. blomp, blomp, blomp. He calls get to repo index. Yeah, so there's nothing that we could be fucking up in here. It's so simple. Well, I guess I should never say we can't be fucking up, because we can always fuck up if we try, you know? It's always possible. Okay, so repository.c, he's gonna have like some sort of like index. Get repository index. Here we go. He's gonna say call this thing with a weak pointer and repository index open, blah blah blah. So if the repo index is null, fuck. Okay, so he says if the index is null, then we do nothing. Then we open it. Otherwise, we just return the existing index. Dude, why? Okay, so let's just double check this. So get index open comes from index C, and surely he's the guy who's actually in charge of parsing the index file. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, so he parses the index. Dude, why? Why? I fucking hate you. Oh, that's so frustrating. Okay, so we can just, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Why would I be mad? Why would I be mad? Okay. You know, I do have to, you know, I'm of the opinion that you should never be mad at a library that you use, right? It's your fault for taking on a dependency, and if it doesn't do what you want, like, it does what they want, right? The maintainers of Git2 want it to do that for some reason, right? But it's like, I can still be frustrated. But I would like to just be clear that I don't think that the it's not like fuck you Git2 repo, even though that's what like libgit2. Even though I said fuck you libgit2, I don't actually feel that way. Because they're providing me with a library that is saving me a fuck ton of work. So you know, just so that I don't give off the wrong impression. Okay. So I guess what we'll just do is we'll just fucking resolve the path ourselves. So we know that it's in get index. So we can just call let index is equal to get to index open. And we'll just say self get dir join with index. Something like this. Something like this. And then we probably have to like unwrap this or something. Alright, let's see if that fixes it. Let's see if that fixes it. So now I go in here and let's look at maybe git status. And we can say git add-u, re-retrieving files, okay. And we are selected on the index. And so let's do something crazy like git restore staged source GUI mod. And so now we should see source GUI mod going, fuck. Still no go. Re-requesting index diff, re-retrieving files, that worked. But it's still showing source GUI mod. Why? Why? Okay. Well, we're closer now. Git add-u. So we are re-retrieving the files. Okay. Now we can look at cat. Okay. Let's cat file. No, what was it? It was ls files staged. And we'll grep for GUI mod. Okay. So this is the current hash of source GUI mod. And we look at GUI mod up here, and he has that correct hash, DE1F5 blah blah blah. DE1F5 blah blah blah. Okay. So now I should say git restore staged source GUI mod. And I can do ls files again. Now he's got a different thing. 638A. And if I look for him up here, GUI mod, it's 638A. So it does look like he is correctly updating. Like we now at least have the right object hash. And we're even saying, hey, we re-requested the diff and we re-retrieved the files. So, oh, fuck me. It's because it's in two, we fucking use this in two places. We just have to do it down here as well. Fuck me. Modified files with index. So it's here. Yeah. Libgit to git index read. Let's take a look-sees. Read. Update contents. Oh, nice. By reading from the hard disk. If force is true, it performs a hard read that discards in-memory changes. If there is no on disk, blah, blah, blah. If force is false, a soft read that reloads only if it's changed the last time it's loaded. Good eye. Good eye. Appreciated. Much appreciated. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll say let index read here. Index. And I guess we'll say false, I guess. Fuck it. I don't know. And does this return a new thing? No. And I guess we just have to do this in the same spot. We just have to do this the other place we called index. Which is here. And now it should work. Hopefully. Hopefully this is the one. So we look at the index. We say no source GUI mod. We come back over here and we say git add-u. There we go. It fucking appears. Let's go. We did it. So if I say git restore stage dot, everything goes away. Hell yeah. Git add-u. Everything goes back. Woo! Let's go, baby. Feels good. Feels good. I don't like this, like, what's going on here? There's like, why is there so much stuff in between there? Commit view. Okay, we remove all this, and so I guess it's where we say text edit multi-line. We have the available lit. We use the message. We put the font. Is gen commit header stage files to string. So maybe that's just the way it is all the time. Maybe I have that space in there no matter what. Because I would like it to be a little tighter. But if not... Yeah, see, this is like, there's only one line. Here, like, what's going on with all this? It's very strange. Very strange, because cache commits, blah, blah, blah. So this is just like returning a string. This string is fucking empty, stage files. So maybe this guy needs to shrink. Maybe this like multi-line text edit needs to say, please don't fucking take up as much space as possible. Or maybe it's like got like a minimum width that we have to adjust. Multi-line, or height, desired rows. Ah, the default for multi-line text is 4. Ah, yeah. So here, I'll just say 1. And then, in the case where there's more than one line, it should fix itself, but in the case of our little index thing, there we go. So now he says staged files, and it's not like a pain in my ass, and here it does extend, so we're chilling. Chilling! Alright. I think I'm happy with that. So now, and here I can say git add-u, and I did see like some like things shift around here. I can like, oh, that feels so good. It feels so good. Okay. Cool, and now we have like stuff in the index with coloring moved. Yeah, pretty good. I think I'm happy with that for today. We're at 1:40. I think that's pretty good progress. Well, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if I feel like it's like really good progress. I feel like this should have gone faster, but we did get it done. You know, I was kind of hoping that we'd also get to like the working tree, but we did not get there. What else did we do here? We did something like auto refresh. And I didn't write down any times again. I gotta get better at like keeping this up to date because I think that like it feels good to see progress over time. Which we did see, but it's nice to, you know, take the little box, you know. But okay, pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. So what we did was we redid this whole like index working thing. We like refactored some code so that like we could reuse the existing components for generating like object ID diffs to now adding this like extra target. There's an index. We piped that around. Git restore stage dot. It goes away. Git add dash u comes back. Chillin'. Love it. I think probably the next thing up would be to like show the working directory in here as well. Maybe you have like another diff chunk under on below, and then maybe like we can like throw some buttons on top that say like add and remove file from the staging area. Maybe we'll put a button here that says like unstage. Maybe on the left, maybe on the right. Not sure. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, feeling pretty good. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, I stream most days at around like 1 or 2 o'clock Pacific time for a couple hours. We're working right now on this Git GUI as well as a terminal emulator. I'm planning on coming back to it. I just needed a few days to... I took a couple days off, and I thought that I would clean some stuff up in that time, and I didn't. So I need to like find some time and motivation to clean it up before I get jumping back on. But we have a few more things that I want to do in the Git GUI, so this will probably be a couple more days and then back on Termi. If you're new, there's a YouTube link in the Twitch description, and all things that we've worked on are kind of organized into like playlists on there. So there's like an OS playlist, an operating systems playlist, a neural network playlist, some like 3D geometry stuff, Linux stuff, terminal emulator. I don't know. We've done like a bit. There's a GitHub link in the Twitch description as well. Where most code for most projects ends up, but maybe after, you know, hopefully we don't see stuff that's like ASDF in those commits, like they're like a little cleaned up, a little nicer. I don't see anything in the Twitch description on my end. Might be my issue. I think here, let's pop open Twitch. Let's see. Mute. It should be here. Right here. In the icons. I probably should change this in some way because I get that a lot and it's like they should be more apparent, but I think they are there. What the fuck? I don't see those. Oh, well, that sucks. Okay, GitHub is, I'll post the link here. GitHub.com/spharophoria and youtube.com/@spharophoria. Okay. Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, you should swing by on Twitch. There's a Twitch link in the YouTube description. Swing by, say hi. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!